What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Breaking News. 2 EIDL lawsuits and $500,000 approved for the 24 months of working capital. It is Friday, TGIF, May the 21st, 2021. Please do me each favor. Give this video a thumbs up. Hashtag EIDL with your comments below. And once again, we're closing in on 6,000 followers. Thank you very much. On Twitter at TrySmallBiz, username SmallBiz Inc., which is going to launch in a couple of weeks in the month of June, which will turn into a mobile app probably by July or August. And I'm going to help grow your small biz. And yes, if you're new to this channel, we're going to have a cruise probably next year, but definitely by the year after, somewhere in the Caribbean. I already have a plan. I already have some sponsors lined up. I'm going to have them cover at least half to maybe 2/3 of what it's going to take to get you and your significant other there. It's going to be an absolute fucking blast. And most importantly, we're going to make lots of money over the next 20, 30, 40 years and beyond. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have a problem getting your money with respect to the Targeted EIDL Advance, it might be because of your bank. And by the way, the 2 lawsuits are for discrimination of white guys and strippers. All that and more. Yeah, I hear you. Pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee, ice cold beer, glass of wine. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before I talk about the strippers and the white guys that are suing the SBA for discrimination, and in my opinion, if one of them's successful and there's a hearing that begins next week, you're going to see dozens of copycat lawsuits by the 4th of July. I don't know why it is. Is there something in the air? Is it because it's gorgeous on its way to 92 degrees by Sunday? Is it because somebody just got $500,000 that you and I both know, or at least approved? I don't know what it is. But I suddenly feel as if the tide is turning in our favor. Yes, according to Ryder over at Skip, who did a great video again last night that I'm going to allude to some of here in a second, we still have a problem with 2 or 3% that have been funded, 5 to 7 or 8% that have been approved. So 90% plus, whether we're talking about the Targeted EIDL Advance or the 24 months of working capital, have gotten absolutely nothing from the SBA. But if you look at their website to start with, I'll put it pinned in the top comment, it's phenomenal. I mean, they are cranking out news in the newsroom. You can subscribe, add your email address. You'll get 2 or 3 emails a day. They've got seminars, webinars now, I think it's every other Thursday, that are fantastic. Miss Isabel Guzman has put herself in front of the camera more times in the last 2 or 3 months than you know who did in more than a year. So as far as the optics go, the SBA gets an A+. Where they get an F fucking minus is the delivery of funds in a timely fashion. At the rate they're going, 7,000 apps a week with respect to the Targeted EIDL Advance, and even less than that, I'm estimating about 2,000 loans funded a week at the current pace. We're literally looking at years. So if they don't speed it up, I got bad news for some of you. It's going to be years. Now, the good news is we had 2 more people approved last night, including one guy who got approved for $500,000 that I'm going to touch on in a second. But they got to speed it up. The lawsuits might do that, right? S513, Jackie Rosen, John Cornyn, and Chuck Schumer. If you want to get the SBA out of a legal quagmire, or at least some of it, pass S513. There's no discrimination. There's no low-income community requirement. There's no economic loss required. It's 10 grand regardless of size, location, or credit score. And the loans go back up to $2 million where they belong. That would eliminate a huge amount of hassle and headache at the SBA. But if they refuse to do it, and so far, Chuck, if I have to see another fucking pot campaign, I mean, it's all Chuck Schumer talks about. It's kind of like Cornyn. He's obsessed with the border. 90% of John Cornyn's posts have to do with the border. When it comes to Chuck Schumer, it's legalizing marijuana, canceling student debt, and talking about his silly clean car program. Like he's the one that's responsible for getting that off the ground. I'm so tired of this guy's bullshit. He's like standing on a soapbox this fucking high, and all he does is talk about 3 or 4 things all day long. Not a word out of his mouth with respect to EIDL and getting you the 10,000 he promised in August of last year in the CARES Act. But I digress. There's a link pinned in the top. If you have not gotten your money, in the last, let's say 2 or 3 months, but you're approved inside your portal for the Targeted EIDL Advance. I'm not talking about the loan. I'm talking about the advance. You can scroll down. It'll say advance funds returned by banks. The long story short, they can return the funds back to the SBA for anything. You're on a do not pay list, even though you shouldn't be there. You didn't dot your I's. You didn't cross your T's. You changed your bank. Your business is closed. There can be a million things, including human error at the SBA and or your bank. So look, you need to send an email to COVID Advance Bank Returns. It's pinned in the top. You can read it. It's loaded with good information. COVID Advance Bank Returns at SBA.gov. You put your app number in the subject line as always. You have a front and back copy of your driver's license and your corporate checking account front and back with a voided check. And they'll reach out to your bank after they verify you. You know, I'm unverified. I'm in my second reconsideration for the 24 months of working capital, but I'm unverified, right? I'm probably the most visible EIDL applicant in the entire fucking country, but I'm unverified. But if you haven't gotten your money, call your bank. Hey, did you send any money back to the SBA in the last couple of months? I was approved eons ago. Well, as a matter of fact, Mr. Jones, we did. Great. Can I ask why you didn't reach out to me and tell me you sent the fucking money back? I mean, this process is maddening, right? We have to have a little bit of fun on a Friday. We're about to with some strippers. I hear you, Ma. I hear you. She doesn't want me going there. Tough shit. It's Friday. We've earned a little bit of fun. Mom died. Yeah, she died. For all you that knew, Mom chimes in, right? She doesn't like the swearing. In fact, last night, real quick, last night I'm sitting there having dinner, and for whatever reason, she hardly ever comes in late at night. It's always early in the day and afternoon, right around video time. But last night she says, you know, you dropped 24 F-bombs in that last video. I think it's a little rude and crude. That's what my mother used to say. There's a little secret. When she didn't like my language, she'd say, Jason, you're rude and crude. So she piped in. She said, I'll give you a half a dozen, but not 24. So if I cut back some, most of the time anyway, you now know why. She won't leave me alone. She'll keep it up until I stop acting rude and crude. So if you need your money, and it has been a long time, pin in the top, email, driver's license, corporate check. There's a lot of other goodies. Like I said, the SBA gets an A+ with these webinars every other Thursday. The new website, there's 2 or 3 emails a day. You can subscribe to the newsroom. It's fantastic. And I have to believe that has something to do with Miss Isabel Guzman's leadership, who I, for the most part, am a fan of. The problem is time, the pace at what they're going, and the ridiculous declines, which, if you didn't see Patrick Terpstra's interview, go to my Twitter wall. He did a fantastic job of interviewing a woman who owns a music store with 13 employees. She was accused of being delinquent on child support for more than 2 months. The problem is she had no kids. He interviewed other people that are being accused of being dead when they're alive. And like a couple of you pointed out in the comments last night, how the hell can you be dead and file an application for a Targeted EIDL Advance? It's like, when you think this is not going to get any weirder, it does. When we think we've heard all the possible reasons, including unverifiable information. Okay, what's unverifiable? Oh, we can't tell you that. Well, you're on a do not pay list. Okay, fine. That's news to me. I've got an 800 credit score. I've never gone bankrupt. There are no marks on my credit score. Can you tell me why I'm on a do not pay list? How I am? No, we can't tell you that. We can't tell you any of that. It's maddening. It's madness. It's way worse than they're admitting to, but at least they're starting to admit it. They admitted, according to their books, 1.1 million applied for the Targeted EIDL Advance. That's bullshit. Out of 9 million, I'm guessing at least 40 to 50% threw their hat in the ring, including yours truly, who was denied. But look, at least they're starting to come to Jesus for at least a minute or two to admit we just rejected or denied 62% of those that have applied. I think that's a farce. I think that's bullshit. How is that Chuck Schumer? How is that helping small business? Jackie Rosen, Big Ben Cardin, who runs the Senate Committee for Small Business, who hasn't said anything about EIDL in the last 2 or 3 months. How is declining 62% for the Targeted EIDL Advance? How is that helping small business? They're out there talking a good game, especially Miss Isabel Guzman. She's all over the place. She's on radios. She's on Facebook Lives. She's doing all sorts of things. But talk is cheap. When you decline 2/3 or thereabouts for the Targeted EIDL Advance, and 95% plus are still waiting, including yours truly, for 24 months of working capital now, going on what? 4 months for the EIDL Advance and almost 2 months for the 24 months of capital. That's not good enough. And these lawsuits are going to light a fire, in my opinion. So before I let you go, yay to Stephen CARLSON. He's the one who got $500,000. He's in the trenches with Speak and See. Dan over at Allegedly. By the way, he's got some new business series videos that I'm a big fan of. You need to check out Dan over at Allegedly. He walks the beach in California. It's absolutely beautiful. And he's a good guy with a really interesting perspective. You got Max Maher and Ryder over at Skip. And Purple Power, I haven't seen much of him lately. Is he doing all right? What about Meet Kevin? Has he said anything about EIDL? I haven't seen much of any, but I hope everyone's doing well. So look, 2 lawsuits. I know, I'm all over the map. It's Friday. I feel pretty good. Something big's about to happen. I'm smelling either Schumer's going to realize, okay, we got a problem with these lawsuits, or it's about fucking time we stop paying. Something's going to happen. I'm optimistic that something's happening. Remember I told you before Memorial Day weekend, I'm not going to be surprised. I can feel something coming. Next week is going to be a celebration in this country. Most people are taking off the fucking mask, or at least where it's appropriate. Something's going to happen. I can feel it. But these lawsuits are probably going to amplify the noise around the SBA and the problems. Thank you very much to Patrick Terpstra, the Wall Street Journal. Please come out with that article. The New York Times, the New York Post, Andrew, and everybody else I can't remember at the moment. White men, I mentioned this yesterday, and now strippers are suing the SBA. And I'm going to focus on the strippers because I think they have an excellent case. We are in a situation in this country right now, ladies and gentlemen. I know, hurry up, Jason, it's 12 minutes. Class warfare. The fake news, Washington, D.C., the Illuminati, whatever it is you want to call them, the entire game is to divide and conquer. Keep us all separate and apart. Because if 330 million, about 100 million of which are small business owners, side hustlers, sole proprietors, decide to come together and celebrate their diversity, they're in big fucking trouble. So they've got to constantly keep us apart. They've got to pander to this group. They got to pander to that group. They got to walk away from white men for a variety of reasons. But the lawsuits are flying. Both have to do with the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, because when the stats came out, they realized that white men were not being funded versus, say, minorities, women, etc. And the strippers, which I find interesting, in fact, I think they have an excellent case because, by the way, if you didn't know this, strip clubs, big money, they tend to have access to high-powered lawyers. So here's their argument. A lot of these high-end strip clubs have restaurants attached. Not that I've ever been in one, right? I've never gone to a strip club, had a 4 or 5 star meal, and then peeked over the wall at what was going on stage. No, I've never done that before. But if you go to some of these places in Vegas or New York City, they're very opulent. And they'll have very, very good restaurants right next door in the same building to the stage, to the girls, to the action. So they're saying, hey, you're discriminating against us. We have restaurants. We have been affected by the pandemic. And in this liberal/blue leaning world that we now live in, I can see the right court saying, you know what? That's an excellent group that we might want to pander to because we got the election coming up here in about 6 to 9 months. So yeah, we agree. And if you get one of those 2 lawsuits to gain any traction, as I said on Twitter, at Try Small Biz, there's going to be copycats. They're going to file the same exact language. They're going to pile on. And the SBA, by the 4th of July, if they're not careful, is going to be sitting on 15 or 20 lawsuits. Now, frankly, I don't want to see that happen. I'm trying to apply, along with the other channels I've mentioned relentlessly, maximum pressure. I'm raising hell on YouTube, Twitter, and to some extent on LinkedIn. And I'm doing my damnedest, ladies and gentlemen, to get you 10 grand or the balance thereof, regardless of size, location, or credit score, $2 million caps, 24 months of capital. And yeah, Big Ben Cardin and I are going to work together hand in glove so that you never pay the SBA a single dime. So until next time, hey, under 15 minutes, always remember, ladies and gentlemen, I love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. No drinking and driving. And thanks for watching.